Hi, everyone. My name is Sherry with Red Apple Auctions, and I'm a fundraising auctioneer based out of the Washington, D.C. area that works nationally for the past 15 years. And I'm a big believer in education, and that's what this video is all about here today, is teaching about the best of live raffle, particularly because we have been in a big transition since 2020 with COVID-19. The pandemic auctions are very different than our in-person events. Last year, I transitioned 33 of my clients into a virtual environment. We had some great virtual galas. High fives to all of those clients out there that are watching this because you had the courage to move forward. And here we are in 2020. Hang on one second here. I'll get back to them in a second. And here we are still dealing with these virtual galas, but still making it work, and doing so in some cases with record numbers in both attendance and in net income. So today's Best of Live, I'm going to talk a little bit about why the virtual gala is so different than the in-person gala and how that's affected the raffle. I want to talk about the Best of Live raffle if you're not familiar with it, and why it's good for these times and for buyers and you, the nonprofit or school, and any objections you might have. So first off, one of the things that we've really found with these virtual events is that unlike an in-person event where guests might arrive at 6 o'clock and not go home until midnight, you're not keeping them on the computer for that kind of time. Most of our virtual galas are an hour to maybe 2.5 hours all in. And so keeping that in mind, you've got to make sure that every minute is worthwhile. Even when it comes down to the live auction, the way that we're selling the live auction items is different depending on the style of virtual gala that you adopt. But those live auction items, every one has to pull its weight. At an in-person event, we might sell 12 items or 15 items or 25 items. And some of those items we know are not gems, but we're like, whatever, we'll put it in. We just don't have that luxury with a virtual gala because we have to make sure that we only got our guests' eyeballs for a limited amount of time. We want to make sure that it's impactful. Every item counts. So we've shrunken our live auctions. We've compressed our schedule, our timeline of events, and so forth. And that means that we've got to relook at everything that we're doing in that virtual gala to make sure it makes an impact. The Best of Live raffle is a raffle whereby we're selling a fewer number of tickets, a limited number of tickets, but they're selling at a higher price point. So think, for instance, 50 tickets at $100, or 100 tickets at $100, or 100 tickets at $200. It's a higher price point for you and a limited number of tickets. The smallest virtual gala, or the smallest Best of Live raffle I've done was 25 tickets at $100. That earned that charity $2,500. Might not seem a lot to you, or maybe it does seem like a lot to you, but it was a great number for that small charity. So that's how it's structured. Now, the prize of the Best of Live raffle is whatever item the guest would like, the winning ticket number, whatever item they want from the live auction. So if you're selling 10 items in your live auction, that ticket holder who wins is going to choose one of those items, and that becomes their prize. If you're selling 20 items, that would be unusual in a virtual gala format. But if you're selling 20 items, they're choosing one of those items in the live auction, whatever they think is great. It might be the trip to Spain. It might be the restaurant dinner for 8. It might be the cooler filled with meat. It's up to them to decide whatever is great for them. Those tickets are being sold, of course, in advance of the event. We're drawing it right before the live auction. I'm reaching in and pulling out that winning ticket holder, and I'm like, Tom is our winner of the Best of Live. And it says here on the ticket that he wants the cooler filled with meat. That's his prize. Or if you're using a different style of virtual gala, they may chat that in. Tomorrow, I'm working with a client. They've got everybody's phone number, and they said, look, we're going to call you. You got to pick up. If you don't pick up at X time, then we're drawing again, and someone else is going to win the Best of Live prize. So that's how they're handling it. Everybody's different. You're going to have to figure this out for your own event. For that matter, you're also going to need to know about your own laws in your state and whether or not raffles are legal. I'll leave you to do the research on all of that. one of the first questions is how do you set a price for the best of live raffle? And for that, I always encourage people to look back in your history. What is a big number for you? Like in the case of that small charity I talked about that sold 25 tickets at $100, they had never sold anything for above $2,000 in their event. Ever in their live auction, silent, nothing had ever sold for above $2,000. So for them to make $2,500 on an item was huge for them. But for other groups, that's why they're selling items. They're selling 100 tickets for $200. They want to make $20,000 because they're selling their items for $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 in their live auction. So in order to cover the cost of what that item might have sold for in the live auction, they're selling more tickets at a higher price point. That's how that works. So you just look at your past history. If you go the last 4 years and you're like, you know what, shoot, we sell items on average for about $2,000, $3,000 every once in a while. We hit 4. Well, then you might say, you know what, we're going to try to shoot for 50 tickets at $100 or 40 tickets at $100. Don't get greedy. Don't get greedy on this raffle because, and this leads to my next point, why buyers, guests love this raffle. It might take them a moment to understand and really get the gist of it. But once they understand it, they love it because they understand that the odds are excellent in their favor. They have a 1 in 25 chance to win, 1 in 50 chance to win, 1 in 100 chance to win. They're prepared to pay the higher priced ticket because their odds are so good. And the second part is the prize is awesome. They're not being told what they need to win or what they will win. They get to choose what they want to win. Usually when I'm selling this in an in-person environment, they'll say, wait a second. You mean, Sherry, that I'm going to buy a ticket and I'm going to be able to choose whatever I want from the live auction? And I'm like, yes, in fact, you can. So I can take that trip to Italy if I want for $100. I'll be like, yes, you can. Or I can take the case of wine for $100. Yes, you can. Your choice. And you're pulling this before the live auction. Yes, we are. We're pulling it right before the live auction. And they're like, well, yeah, I'll take one. I'll take one. And then I usually say, well, if you buy 2, you improve your odds and see if I can get them to sell 2. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. We always want them to buy more. So that's why it's good from the buyer's perspective. But from the nonprofit or the school side, it's great for you because again, in a COVID-19 year, 2021, we are trying to maximize every minute that's in that virtual gala. And this is one way to do it. We can put another item into the live auction because we know that one will disappear with this raffle. So we can put another item in that helps us raise more money. And from the standpoint of just keeping things lively, it's a nice change, especially if you haven't done it before. Now, one of the objections that oftentimes comes up is people might say, well, I don't think that's very fair. We're advertising these items are going into the live auction, but then we're not really, one will disappear and people won't get to bid on it. Well, yeah, but if you've never sold an item for, again, using my example of the small charity, $2,500 before, are you going to complain? Usually you sell things for $1,000. You've just made $2,500 on this. And now you're like, well, dang it. People didn't get a bid on it. They weren't going to pay $2,500 anyway. They weren't. So it's better for the charity, even if you feel like, well, geez, they didn't get the chance to bid on it. The other element that sometimes comes into play is that people will say, well, you know, they really want this item. And I'm like, well, if they really want it, they can buy all the tickets in the best of live, and then they can choose that item when they win. You improve your odds the more tickets you buy. And then finally, sometimes people will say, well, you know, we have sponsors of these items, and we want to make sure that we appropriately thank our sponsors. And that's not a problem at all, because when we're going through the sales, let's say that item number 3 was chosen. When I get to item number 3, I'll say, friends, oh, item number 3, that beautiful diamond ring, worth, what was it worth? Oh my gosh, it was worth $4,000. Well, remember, friends, Tom won that. Tom was our winner of the Best of Live auction this year. But I would be remiss if I didn't thank Jennifer and Jacob, because for the last 6 years, they have donated a diamond from their jewelry store. Every year it's stunning. This year it was that gorgeous ring. Tom decided he wanted it for his Best of Live raffle choice prize. And so we've made $10,000 on that item this year. $10,000, Jennifer, you friends, thank you so much for that donation, because we couldn't have done it without you. That was the best item out of the live auction, according to Tom, this year. Thank you so much. Let's move on. You spend some time thanking that person and acknowledging them so that they do get the acknowledgement that they should. We want to highlight them and showcase them on that virtual gala stage. And we're able to do that when we are acknowledging them in that way. So that's some of the reasons there on the Best of Live. There's some little nuances here and there, but that gives you the gist of it and why you might want to consider it this year. If you're looking for other resources, I have got loads of them, both on my website and my YouTube channel. You can go peruse those. Since 2020, early 2020, it's been all virtual gala information. And specifically, there's 2 resources on my website under the free resources tab that you can tap into that are pretty popular. The first level underneath that free resources tab is my conversation series. And it talks about, the next 6 months is what I was calling it. I led 6 conversations in 2020, showcasing the changes in the industry and the styles of virtual galas that are out there. You can actually see videos of different styles of virtual galas, so you can decide what's going to work best for you. That's the first one. Oh, there's also in that program, there's also, and it's free, of course, there's a nice 1-hour tutorial on WOW boxes or VIP boxes. A lot of people signed in for that one as well. And then the second resource underneath the free resources tab is the virtual gala cheat sheet. It's 3 pages, easy to just print out and, again, get the pros and cons of different virtual gala styles. Maybe take that to your next committee meeting as you're deciding what you want to do with your virtual gala. Other resources there, I'll let you poke around. Lots to talk about for sure since March of 2020, and we're going to continue to talk about it here until it's no longer, till coronavirus is gone, way gone. Then we'll fade out of this. I'm Sherry with Red Apple Auctions. As always, hey, good luck to you in your fundraising gala.